most important committees we have in this House. Mr. Speaker, Parliament, including National Assembly and the Senate, is a workplace. And it is a unique workplace that has staff of Parliamentary Service Commission brought to provide services to elected members, senators and National Assembly members. Mr. Speaker, we then have senators and members of the National Assembly, part of this workplace, but properly speaking, employees of the people being provided services by the Parliamentary Service Commission. Mr. Speaker, I have looked at the Parliamentary Service Commission HR policy, and matters sexual harassment and other harassment is addressed only to the extent that it touches on members of staff. But we currently only use the standing orders, the Committee on Powers and Privilege, which is not in fact given detailed guidance on how to deal with allegations. Mr. Speaker, it is possible that we can have sexual harassment between members of Parliament, between a member and staff, between staff and a member. Mr. Speaker, those are serious allegations. So where serious allegations have been made on sexual misconduct, Mr. Speaker, they have to be taken seriously by the House. And if it is found that the allegations are made in the air for publicity, it is important that we discourage such behavior. World over, allegations of sexual harassment have brought down very powerful people. They are not tolerated anywhere. It is therefore absolutely important that when anyone comes up with allegations that so-and-so has sexually harassed me, they must be able, for the sake of the rights of whomever they are accusing, they must be able to substantiate what they're saying. Mr. Speaker, this report shows that allegations were made, allegations were not substantiated. Mr. Speaker, those allegations were not made at the back. They were made on a forum where we all are. So if you are fair human beings and judges, you know exactly what those allegations were. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, the person who was being accused is a member of staff, and we stand in power over that member of staff. They were unable to respond to anything. They have been unable to respond to this anywhere. Mr. Speaker, if this happened in the executive, I am sure there would be a defamation lawsuit in our courts that might very well yield a lot of damages. Mr. Speaker, so as we debate in this House, let us not trivialize this matter. As we debate in this House, let us remember that what we are doing now is the only recourse that the staff have against allegations made against them. Are we condoning sexual harassment? No. If anybody engages in sexual harassment and we find them culpable, Mr. Speaker, we must as a House be able to deal with this issue. And that is why when the matter went on and on and on, we suggested that the Powers and Privileges Committee sit and call the senator involved to actually bring the evidence. The report shows she was not able to do that. Mr. Speaker, I happen to come from the women's movement. And as women, we were watching closely. And I think I may have been the first person to say, if there is any allegation about against the senator on sexual harassment, it must be dealt with. If you check through the WhatsApp, you will find that I insisted that the matter be investigated. Mr. Speaker, out there we have hundreds of girls and women who are harassed, but they are not able to access justice. When we therefore, as leaders, women leaders, weaponize gender, we actually harm the women's movement. So I want to say it clearly, knowing that the public is watching, that we will defend all cases of sexual harassment, but we will not allow gender to be weaponized in order to hurt the movement for women, because we know many women are hurting out there. Mr. Speaker, sexual harassment is not about a man against a woman. It can be either way. Mr. Speaker, those involved are human beings with rights. Mr. Nyegenye has a wife, he has a daughter, he has a son. I would want to dare any of you to tell us how you would look if your daughter was told you have harassed somebody sexually. So we must protect those who are going to be hurt outside there because of our careless utterances in this house. So I would want to ask both men and women in this house to stand up for what is right, to know that you're state officers, to know that you are subject to Chapter 6 of the Constitution, and you will not use this house to individually hurt the rights of others. Mr. Speaker, as we move forward, I want to recommend that Parliamentary Service Commission use this situation and others to put a framework in place that can ensure protection of those who may be sexually harassed, but also protection of those who will be harassed elsewhere for political or other purposes. So we need as a house to put our house in order. I think this is a shameful day that I have to stand as a woman and be able to say I don't believe what a woman has said. It is saddening, but let us not kid ourselves. Let us do what is right. Tomorrow it will be you who will be accused falsely of sexually harassing. But Mr. Speaker, as I finalize, in case Senator Gloria believes this house is not fair, sexual harassment is an offense under the laws of Kenya. Please let her go to the courts and sue Mr. Nyegenye. And Mr. Nyegenye should also be encouraged. He also has his rights. The fact that he serves us does not mean we take away his rights. He can also go to court to sue on defamation if it turns out that the charges against him are not sustained. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the issue of the punishment, Mr. Speaker, I would be among those who say, maybe let's give her half the time, not the full 6 months. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.